in the big leagues and over the moon.
Welcome to the Landing Strip with Nick Lynham and Mikey Garcia, presented by From Financial.
Welcome back to the Landing Strip on this Monday evening after the Winnipeg Jets and Ottawa Senators took us to overtime on Amazon Prime night. In what looked like it might have been another victory for the Winnipeg Jets. Ottawa ties it late and then wins it in overtime. A lot to discuss in this one. I'm curious on the takeaways for this one. I'm getting texts that Arnie wasn't very happy, so Mikey, I hope you have those ready.
Yep.
Mikey, how you doing tonight, buddy?
You know, we're going to start the show the way we do after a loss right now, so let's hit it. Hold out the tank.
Stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop. It'll soon be here.
The tank is still in effect, still possible. I see in the chat we've already had it. You know, White Horse to Winnipeg is still possible. So, you know, that's the dream's still alive. But, yeah, coming out of that one tonight, you know, you could tell me that the Jets were the better team and deserved to win. You could tell me that the Jets absolutely did not deserve a win and were on the backs of maybe some hot goaltending. You could tell me probably 4 different ways that you saw the game tonight, and I'll probably argue with all of them. So this will be fun.
Yeah, no, this is a really weird one. This is a really weird one for me watching in-house today. So let's start it. Let's put you on your toes first. What's your big takeaway leaving the Ottawa Senators versus Winnipeg Jets game?
Look, I know the vibes were high after the last game, Connor Hellebuck's return. It felt like it was retro night, 2024 all over again. But, we brought down the barricades at Portage and Main, right? It's open now. It's clear. But I think there's still going to be some other barricades to having a parade go through there this year. It's just, I don't think we're there. If we're going to have this much trouble dealing with an Ottawa Senators team that looks like that, I don't think they've turned the corner. I'm not ready to say that this is the recipe, Ottawa, again, kind of had that blueprint on how to really attack the Jets, right? Hit them with speed, make them chase you around, and see if you can capitalize on a mistake, and that's what they did tonight.
Yeah, this is one, like you said, you could argue one way. I'd probably agree and disagree with you. You could argue another way. I'm going to go into the chat a little bit here. As I see over on YouTube, Nicholas at Night's takeaway. Shannon Ottawa goal 1A. The guy's starting over Salo. That goal cost the Jets the game. Not the second. Arnie saying the team of vets need to learn how to win this one. Dishonest org. And that one had me asking the audience, what does 5 do well as he gets caught in no man's land and leaves Nick Cousins, of all people, sitting alone?
Yep.
Caitlin Doucette says the rumors of us being back might have been greatly exaggerated.
A little bit.
Frosty Winnipeg's takeaway tonight. I'm glad we lost tonight, as I forgot what it's like to hate the team when we lose. Yeah. And as Nicholas and I said, false vibes. I never drank the Kool-Aid. And Elias McCracken, who's normally the beacon of hope, the beacon of optimism in our chats, has a couple for strong words leaving this one, saying some folks on Discords were thinking the Jets played well. What game were they fucking watching? Weak effort, no passion. This game might have broke my optimism for the year. And if they're breaking Elias, I'm actually worried about the state of the team right now.
Yeah, no doubt.
So this one's interesting to me because I think that first period, for the first 15 minutes, it felt like the Ottawa Senators came out and controlled the game and dictated the flow of that one. But it's not like the Jets really gave up anything during that span. Ottawa gets a couple of their best looks on those back-to-back power plays. The second power play, to me, watching it, we saw that Ottawa take advantage of those seams again, but they didn't. Like, they bobbled those pucks when they could have had a shooting opportunity. So they saw the openings, and it felt like the PK to me was it was bending, but it didn't break. And then the last 5 minutes of the first period, the Winnipeg Jets got what I thought were the best opportunities from that period, and they kind of flicked it on for a few shifts to end it. This was a game where sitting there watching it, especially, I mean, most of it really, was really what I would describe as watching two mid teams trying to figure it out, kind of giving it to the other team. Like, I felt a lot of both teams' opportunities came off of bad passing sequences, mistakes from the other team that they dove or they took advantage of. It didn't seem to me like there was a lot of consistent flow of pressure that was coming off creating itself for a bulk of it.
Yep.
I found Ottawa's best players to be pretty dangerous. Tim Stützle's not my favorite watch in the world, but I thought he stood out in this one. I thought Jake Sanderson really stood out from the back out on this one.
Yep.
I thought this was a bit of a tougher night for Winnipeg's better players as they all contribute like some errors on the goals that go against them. Obviously, well, he's not one of their best players, but Luke Shen on that first goal. Kyle Connor doesn't get that puck out on the game tire. And they tie it up. And then you in overtime, and I think every time we go to overtime, it's only been a few times this year, you really get a picture of the flaws in this roster. Because you send out Josh Morrissey, Mark Scheifele, and Kyle Connor, and everyone feels like we have a chance to win. And the next couple of shifts are Lowry and Nyquist and Perfetti and Nemestikov with Pionk and Sandberg in the NHL in 3-on-3. There is just no secondary offense for the Winnipeg Jets to go to try to win a game in 3-on-3. And I do think the important way to look at this game, and which sucks because they did come off such a really good performance off a good Washington team, this is an Ottawa team that's really been struggling of late. Linus Ullmark especially has been struggling, and he might want that Logan Stanley goal back. We're going to get talking about the Stanimal continuing his push up the ice, the offensive breakup. But I thought Ullmark made some big saves down the stretch. Obviously gets Kyle Connor in overtime. There's a couple goalmouth scrambles. Nino has a couple of close calls. But for guys struggling, I thought Ullmark actually looked like a pretty confident goalie in this one.
Yep.
And then Connor Hellebuyck, there wasn't a lot of what I thought were really, really dangerous looks. One that sends out Stützle to Kachuk backdoor. Hellebuyck gets there. Right before Ullmark makes that save in overtime on Connor, you see the odd man rush the other way, and Hellebuyck just reads the play so well that it doesn't even look like a big exaggerated save, but he gets over and makes them. I will say the atmosphere in the arena is a lot calmer when Connor Hellebuyck's in the net, but I do think that this was another effort that should leave you wanting in a season full of them against a really tough team with Ottawa. So take from that what you will. I see some good in this one. I see some bad. And it might just be, in summary, like Mike Friesen mentioned the other day, inconsistencies over the course of the game are just a bad team at the end of the day. Because I saw a lot of the inconsistencies you've talked about of late tonight in the arena.
Yeah, they were on display again. You know, you can play a decently okay game for big chunks of it, but if you fall asleep for some huge moments, you're going to get bit, right? It's the National Hockey League. Even the bad teams still have, some good players on them. You can't fall asleep at the wheel, and it costs them, at minimum 2 of the goals tonight were just off of some boneheaded shit. So it's a frustrating game if you kind of look at all of the context around it, right? In a vacuum, sure, they were in it right to the end. They carried the play for some good stretches. And you can make an excuse of, they just had a couple bad moments and whatever. You throw that game in the garbage and move on. The problem is these are the problems we've been seeing the whole time through. We're kind of right back to where we were, a week or two ago with kind of some of those boneheaded decisions, those brain farts, whatever you want to call them. It's become too much of a problem lately, and it keeps kind of appearing every few games like this. You can't be a playoff team doing that. Like, again, Mike said, inconsistent equals just bad at the end of the day. So they really need to find a way to play those complete 60-game minutes. Arnie talked about that also in the post-game today as well, that he wasn't happy with the fact that they couldn't put together 60 minutes.
I like this take from Maple Bacon saying even when the Sens had all that early zone time, they kept it outside 99% of the time. I did think that the details within the structure were prevalent today if you're looking for something to build off of. Maple Bacon does also point out if 55, 81, and 44 don't end it in OT the first shift, it's basically done. But
And that's so true. That is unbelievable. What other talent do they have to put out there in a 3-on-3? Like I still think it's absolutely insane to see Gustav Nyquist out there at the end of this game. One, for the fact that he couldn't handle the puck all night tonight, couldn't keep the fucking zone to save his life. Like I don't know what was going on out there with him, but the fact that he was in overtime and then again lost the puck at the blue line because he couldn't handle it there, it's not a good look.
I can't believe I'm gonna go there. I actually didn't mind Gustav Nyquist in OT. After that first group, he's the only one that handled the puck and skated into the O-zone to create a look. He ends up bobbling it like you talked about. It was a problem. But on the very next shift, a guy like Cole Perfetti, who I'd want to see in overtime to try and maybe he gets something going, gets bumped off the puck and is beat up the other way and is game over.
That was brutal.
I think the blunt reality, we could debate who should play in overtime. When you look at who's getting sent out there, it should tell you what this roster is. Because there is no good options. Like, we could come in here no matter who comes in after Connor, Scheifele, Morrissey, and it's going to look wrong. Yep. Because there isn't any option.
There isn't. They've got nobody really. There's no Nick Ehlers waiting in the wing this time around. There's not that secondary, highly skilled offensive talent. You've got your top three, and then you've got Logan Stanley. That's your next highest goal scorer. So that's, you don't have a lot of options.
I want to run this by you, and then we got to talk about the number 4 goal scorer, Logan Stanley. Caitlin Doucette, though, says, it feels different than other games this season. We saw the talent, but the effort level wasn't there over the full 60. And I know one thing I've been saying a lot is I do see a team that's putting in the effort that feels like they lack the talent. Would you agree with what Caitlin Doucette says there?
Yeah, they didn't have a full 60 tonight. They didn't. They had too many moments of falling asleep at the wheel and letting Ottawa have, especially in those first 15 minutes, taking those 2 penalties. It was just a mess to start off the game, and they just never really were able to find a consistent pressure, a consistent way to attack the Sens. The Sens they're fast. They move the puck fairly well, with speed, but they've got no finishing. Like, they've got nobody to really put the puck in the net. So to go out and unfortunately drop that game 3-2 to them, at 2 of the goals being just boneheaded plays. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. You didn't have that full effort tonight.
T. Kona has a message for everybody saying, lower your standards and you'll be less frustrated. But I also want to run this take by you from, though Frosty Winnipeg makes me laugh. I see some good, I see some bad, and there you have the facts of life. Get a little jingle going.
You take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have the facts of life. The facts of life.
Nicholas at night says, though, and I like this perspective of this game because it's, like we've been talking about, you could take so many different things out of this one. I like this perspective from Nicholas at night over on YouTube. This is a game where if the Jets were consistently winning, you take this one on the chin. You'd be happy with the point, and you move on. Because the Jets need every W they can get, especially against a team like Ottawa who's sputtering, this ends as a lame duck L. Is that a good summary for how tonight's general perspective is?
100%. 100% agree. If they had this result and this type of game against Colorado, against one of the top teams in the league, that you go, you know what, hey, they fought for it, they controlled play at times, they were in it right till overtime, cool. You can absolutely spin that as the positive. This was against the Sens. This is not a top tier team. This is not some juggernaut scoring team. So yeah, again, when in a vacuum, you can excuse this one away and say, well, look, they got a loser point and they haven't been getting those lately and they need that to keep pace. But again, in reality, they've dropped farther back in the playoff race. The points percentage is just not in their favor. It's not a good look when they're scrambling right now to make up. Because again, the way that they're playing right now, if you just project out, they are not a playoff team. right? Even a small increase in the way that they're playing right now is still not enough to get them into the playoffs. They need a sustained run for a good chunk going forward of top-tier play, of picking up points in every single game, and we're not there. So until there's a massive increase in the play, yeah, I think that was a perfect way to kind of look at this game.
So, based on what I just heard from you, you would kind of agree with T. Will here. The Jets can't make the playoffs without victories, but with all these moral victories, they still might make the moral playoffs?
Look, if we need to raise the deserve to win-o-meter banner next year at the beginning of the season, hey, that's at least a banner they're going to have. So, hey.
And we'll sum it up here. Kayla Doucette says, they look like a team that underperformed as opposed to simply being a bad team tonight. But that's not good enough at this point if you're still going to make the playoffs.
Yes, which
and Frosty wants to remind people, lower their standards, question mark. What is this, the Chalet Hotel?
It's the Occidental. Yeah, again, we can lower. It's tough because you have the team still telling us, oh, no, this is a playoff team. We want to make the playoffs. We want to go on a run. So we have to hold them to that standard. We can't hold them to a rebuilding standard, a retooling standard, those lower kind of like willing to give them grace, take those moral victories when you can, because that's not what they're telling us this is. They want to say this is a playoff team, a contending veteran team that they still think can do it, so we're going to hold them to that standard, and this isn't good enough.
I do want to point out Kevin and Kay, because I know exactly what shift you're talking about. It says 91 had one damn good shift tonight, didn't notice him otherwise. And Peg City Scott says Fetz is costing himself millions on his next contract. Kevin, that shift comes after he turns over the puck on the power play, and the Ottawa Sens go the other way and get the best chance on the power play while shorthanded. And then he jumped out, and he really controlled that shift there where he won the battles along the wall. He was playing PPQB up in the zone. That line looked like they were generating something. And then nothing the rest of the game. And then he's wearing the goat horns when it comes to overtime. I will say, I like to call things out when I see things I think are wrong. I got to apologize on bridging Cole Perfetti. It's looking like the right decision from the Winnipeg Jets brass. There has not been the step that we were hoping to build off of from the second half last year.
Yep.
And at some point, they really got to get something from him.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate because we needed the second half Cole Perfetti to start this season. The Jets so badly, again, losing the middle six, scoring that they did, getting as old as they did, they needed one of the young guys to really step up, be an everyday player, be a contributing member in the box score, on the ice, all of it. And we were looking at Cole Perfetti to do so. He's got the pedigree. We know he's got the talent to do so, and we got a glimpse of it at the end of last year. And yeah, it just hasn't been there. I do put some of that on the fact that he's got to play with, again, two guys that I don't think fit his skill set, that fit his level. I just don't think they're the right pieces together, to be honest. It's a jigsaw that just the pieces don't fit. So that's not helping, but he needs to be able to do more on his own as well if he's going to be the, number 4, quote unquote, option in the offense.
Yes. And to sum up that convo, as Maple Bacon says, more troublesome than his contract. Perfetti's also tanking his trade value.
Not happening.
And Pomerlein says get something for him or get something from him or get something for him.
It's got to be the
Let's
first
go
one.
the opposite. Let's go the opposite way. You know who's juicing their trade value right now?
Woo!
Logan, the Stanimal, Stanley, gets on the board again in this one. He also draws the first power play for the Winnipeg Jets, jumping up into the rush. Mikey, where are you feeling with Logan Stanley's game?
Look, there's in baseball, you've got starting pitchers and you've got, middle relievers, you've got closers, right? I think we need to start bringing that in for hockey. Logan Stanley as an opener, great. Early on in the game, you can have him out there. He's running rampant. He's everywhere. He's getting goals. Golgan Stanley, as our friend Harrison likes to call him. It's wonderful to see that, he's got that offensive part of his game coming in. That's great. I love it. Defensively, though, which is still supposed to be the bigger part of his game, not quite there. Still kind of a bit of a mess out there. The coaches still aren't playing him much in the third period. I think he had 4 shifts total in the third period, none from the last 5 minutes on. It's, you can't trust him late in games, but hey, if you can keep getting goals out of him like this early on, I'll take it, because we know they're playing him regardless. We know he's going to be in the lineup whether those goals are there or not. So I'm so happy to see that the goals are there. Keep popping them. It's hilarious watching the crowd reaction to them.
Oh, it's so good.
You can hear it on
there.
TV. You can hear it. That's how loud it gets when with those chants. So I love it. On pace for 15 goals, over 15 goals right now. So it's great. I'll keep taking it, but let's temper our bit of our, again, we're talking about expectations tonight. Let's temper our expectations on what this means for a long-term Logan Stanley type of situation, because you're still not getting a real good defensive type guy. But if he's got that offensive thing kind of, locked down now, and he's found the scoring touch, great, we need it.
Yeah, there's definitely quite a few outlet passes that ended up going back in the Jet zone today.
They looked more like they belonged at an outlet for fucking cheap.
But I will say, and this I started noticing it before the goal, when he has the puck in the offensive blue line right now, the anticipation that builds in that arena is palpable.
Oh yeah.
It is quite the phenomenon going in that arena. We thought the most crazy face turn this year was John Cena. No, it's Logan Stanley going from the guy we got to get the hell out of here to getting Stanley chants in the arena.
That's right.
Tonight, as he pops his sixth goal?
6th goal.
Is he going double? Is he going double digits?
On pace for over 15 right now. I say he hits 15. I think he's going to do it.
Come on.
1-5. Your boy Logan Stanley is going to be a 15-goal scorer, which is what somebody told me Jonathan Taves was going to do, which is hilarious to think about now. Yeah, I think he does. He's getting those opportunities. One, he gets softer minutes, right? He's not going out there against the top units, the top defensive pairings. And if he's got some confidence in that right now, he's going to keep looking for it. They asked him in the postgame, what do you look for in these opportunities right now? And he's looking to see how much space he's got. He's looking to see who's got the numbers advantage around him. And then he's driving. He said, then I'm just going at it. So if he keeps it in that range and they keep using him early on in games like this, yeah, I think he hits 15. I'm sticking with the pace.
He's definitely hitting double digits, and he genuinely does have a good feel for the O-zone. I see the chat is building off the idea maybe he could be a forward, saying put Stanley in front of the net in the O-zone, buff 2.0 from Maple Bacon 82. And Jelly D Bean says Stan needs to be screening the other team's goalie on offense instead of our own goal on defense.
Yep.
Hey, we can't have him net friend. That missile is beating teams off the stick, man. We got to get him in a shooting spot.
Get him in a shooting spot, but also, hey, driving the networks too. Look at the goal he scored last game.
True.
With that Morrissey bomb.
And Maple Bacon raises a point I noticed today as well, saying no one gets more excited for Big Stan to score than Mark Scheifele.
Oh, yeah.
And Caitlin Doucette says he has the best sellies on the team. I will say, in the midst of this hysteria, he is officially the Winnipeg Jets management litmus test for me moving forward to see just how much they understand about where they're at.
Oh, my sweet summer child.
Because as Elias says, I would definitely trade Stan. This is a moment in time. Still no confidence. You will get to maintain this through a lengthy career. Get something for him now. That guy could get you a second-round pick at the deadline with his size, perception, and the fact he's scoring. If the Winnipeg Jets management buys into this and gives him term over maxing out his trade value right now, this thing's in even more trouble than I realize right now.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that's exactly what's about to happen. They're putting his name on a contract. At minimum, they're not moving him. He's going to be quote unquote their own rental. He's going to be, look, the Jets need a right, or not a right shot. The Jets need a defenseman with who can score. They need a defenseman who can pot some goals, right? They're not trading Logan Stanley. I will eat my hat on stream if that happens. They're putting that boy's name on a piece of paper before that happens.
And as Pomerlin says, Stan's value will never be as high as it is right now. And Caleb reminds us that he will be a Jet for life.
Yep.
We will be celebrating his retirement at the arena one day. I fully believe
yeah.
it. But if we are judging this organization amongst its peers, this is a litmus test. The smart teams trade him off for value. The teams that are stuck in their ways and going backwards pay a depth defenseman way too much money for too many years.
But Nick,
That's
no one
where
wants
I'm
to
at.
come to Winnipeg. They can't get anybody. They have to sign him. Who's gonna come play here? I can already hear all the things. It's happening, man. Oh God, I know it's happening.
And we're getting the crowd. The chat is saying, get ready for the 5x5.
Oh, yep.
Hey, your fantasy team got a Neil Pionk
Neil
goal
Pionk point.
today.
Let's go.
How you feeling about that?
Great. Finally. Jesus Christ, Neil. It's been way too long. Blasted that one down. We've talked about Dylan Sandberg looking like he's more like Dylan Sandberg the 2 games before this one. And hopefully that means that Neil Pionk can start to be a little bit more like contract year Neil Pionk and at least get us some fucking counting stats, because that $7 million is really pissing me off.
I will say, those bombs from him on the point, on the power play, from where I sit, give me the coolest vantage point. Sitting at the far end and seeing the puck direction gets me every time.
Yeah.
For where I sit, the coolest goals every time. Nice to see him get on the board. But also, is it a problem now that all of our secondary scorings coming from Demon?
Yes, it is. You can't have that. It doesn't work.
Yeah, not ideal. Not ideal. You want to go into the From Financial Faceoff?
Right on. Let's hit it.
And then there's some waivers we got to talk about.
Perfect. Right on.
Before we start with the From Financial Faceoff, though, something that's been bugging me. I don't know if you saw. There was a 20-year-old female in Quebec that won the lottery. And she chose the $1,000 per week over the $1 million payout.
No.
And it's ruined my week
Yep.
ever since I found out. So if you ever find yourself in that situation, call our friends over at From Financial, because you do not want to be making the same mistake that I got to read about all week.
Yep.
Back to hockey, though. Mikey, what is your From Financial Face-Off?
That's a great way to look at it, because, money makes money, right? Make sure you take that chunk if you can. Go talk to the experts at From Financial. My From Financial Face-Off tonight, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to go at it. And like we talked about, there were so many different, the Jets were good. They were not good. They had brain farts. It was kind of all over. But really, I kind of just zoned in at one point, and it's Luke Shen. That's it. That's my From Financial. It's Luke Shen. You can do essentially whatever you want with him out there if you get him chasing the play. All you got to do is just get him puck watching, and it happens so frequently lately where you're out there or you're watching the game and you see him out there and you go, he's watching. He has no idea that that's his guy behind him. And then here we go. Yep, chasing in, closing in on Neil Pionk's guy for some reason. And then when he realizes, you can almost see on his face the, oh, fuck, as the head turn as the goal's going in. He can't identify where the danger is in the play. When he does eventually get to that point, he's too slow to make the read or the adjustment on the read. If you get him chasing the play, you can do essentially whatever you want. So that was my From tonight.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Over in the chat, Peg City Scott wants to know if the phone lines still work, and they do.
Phone lines
you
are
can
now
feel
open,
free to
yep.
call in. Nicholas at Night says that's how Chevy would take his lottery winnings. John Chan asks, is it a problem that only 3 players have more goals than the Stanwell this season? Definitely is. But on the From Financial Faceoff, Zero Ghost 8 says the From Financial Faceoff, Laurent Brossoit has more goals than Gustav Nyquist this year. Good to see Laurent Brossoit score in his AHL return. We're going to talk about him in a second, as I know some people in this market would like to claim him off waivers, so we'll have a little waivers conversation. Gilbert Marion's from financial faceoff is R. Neal putting Scheifele on when the goalie got pulled. And I can't say I love seeing Connor and Scheifele down or up a goal with the empty
Closing
net.
game. Yep.
I know they've been their guys all year, but that is the one situation that I don't love going there.
I know they like
think
them on the
that's a fair
PK for that like power kill. I understand that they think that they can use them in that situation, and they've done it a lot. But I'm with you. I'm not a big fan of trying to close out the game with those guys being the number one catalyst for it.
T. Konopali's from financial faceoff is Helly ain't no Superman and no jelly roll. I mean Helly roll. James Eichstra says this team has D-man issues. It won't change.
Yep.
And there's issues all over this roster right now. Maple Bacon points out with the Brossois thing, Jets could get depth scoring and a backup goalie upgrade in one signing / waiver claim. My from financial on this night is, I guess it's simply put, we got to watch two mid-hockey teams that are trying to find their way play a game at the end of December that shows why they're on the outside looking in and they are having trouble finding their way. I thought you saw this game on both sides of the ice. Mistakes made, not a whole lot of consistent flow. I don't know. It wasn't a great NHL hockey game, I think, when you're looking at where the premium teams are.
Look, at the end of the day, the Winnipeg Jets are a 500 hockey team, not in a playoff spot. The Ottawa Senators are, unfortunately, better than the Winnipeg Jets at 531, also not in a playoff spot. And yeah, you watched, like you said, two teams that mid might even still be a little generous, go out and, put on a mid-fest.
Yeah.
Just let that sink in for half a second, too. The Ottawa Senators have a better points percentage on the season than the Winnipeg Jets. That's brutal. That's embarrassing.
I will say, too, I spent the afternoon yesterday watching Quinn Hughes' debut with Minnesota. Oh. And after watching the Jets go through a 50-50 game in person against Boston last week and seeing what Minnesota did to them, there's levels to this, and the Winnipeg Jets are lagging the level of the Central ahead of them.
Yep. Totally agree.
Let's talk waivers. Old friend, Laurent Brossois, hit the waiver wire.
Yep.
Is Mikey Garcia interested?
If we can go back in time 3 weeks, sure. No, I'm not interested, unfortunately. We had some good memories with Laurent here in Winnipeg for a stretch there. But I'm not interested in the contract. I'm not interested in the player. Connor Hellebuck is your guy. He's going to be playing those games going forward. Eric Comrie is more than fine in spot start backup situations and costs you less than a third of what Laurent Brossois costs you in terms of the contract. So, no, I'm not interested. I wish him all the best. I hope he does get picked up to keep playing NHL games. I just hope it's somewhere that's not Winnipeg.
Yeah, he has not played an NHL game since leaving Winnipeg.
Yep.
He's had knee and hip issues. He's getting $3.3 million against the cap, and the Jets have a capable backup. It makes no sense for the Winnipeg Jets, with all their holes, to invest that kind of capital into a backup goalie.
No.
If they wanted to sign him for $1 million next summer instead of Comrie or whatever, go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
This is not the situation to do it.
Yep, exactly.
I will say, I am intrigued by the other two players on waivers, though, for the current iteration of the Winnipeg Jets.
Who do you want to do first?
Out of Detroit, forward Jonathan Berggren, 25-year-old. Obviously, we're talking about a player that's pretty flawed to end up on waivers at 25 years old. He's dominated the A. He's probably a quad A guy, but he's someone that puts the puck in the net. And given the Jets' lack of ability to put the puck in the net, I consider taking a look at him at this point over some of the old folks we're currently taking a look at. And the one I'd really like to see, but there's no chance it's happening given what we know about the Winnipeg Jets and how they feel about their decor and certain players on it. Dallas waived Vladislav Kolialchunik. I don't know how to pronounce his name. But we're talking about a 24-year-old smooth skating defenseman who's on the fringe of that roster. A D-man that could skate and move the puck. Sign me up on taking a look over what we're watching at the bottom of the Winnipeg Jets lineup.
Yeah.
I know waivers is mostly players, but when you look at how the Jets are built right now, I'll take a chance on those two over what we're seeing in the depths of the Winnipeg Jets right now.
Yeah.
I don't expect them to claim either, though.
No, when you've got a Winnipeg Jets roster that is the oldest in the league, to have the option of two sub 25-year-old players who, you know, have some tools there, right? Those are reclamation projects that you should absolutely be taking a look at. Less than $1 million for Vladislav there for a 24-year-old D-man in a very crowded D core in Dallas, right? This isn't that, you know, they've got nobody and they're trying to waive some scrub. They've got a fairly solid D core there that he hasn't been able to crack, and now he's got waiver eligibility. Unfortunately, they are, you know, super married to the guys that they are in the bottom pairing there, but that is somebody I would absolutely take a shot at. It can't be worse than a Fleury. It can't be worse than, you know, any of the other things that you're going to put on that left side there. And for Berggren, you know, again, it's a shot in the dark, right? You're taking a chance at this. They have no middle scoring as it is, so it's not like you're losing anything by bringing him in and letting Nyquist, you know, catch his breath because he's 100. $1.85 million on that contract for the season AAV. Like it's fine. That is a shot you can absolutely take. And if the Jets were serious about trying to turn this around in season, those are serious moves that you would try to take a look at, because if they hit, one of them hits, that's a huge bonus that you didn't have to give up an asset for.
Yeah, I don't see the harm right now. No harm, no foul.
Doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah, you could put them back on waivers. Doesn't work out.
Yep. But I agree with you. I don't see them taking a shot at either one, unfortunately.
A couple thoughts over on the YouTube chat from the Amazon Prime broadcast. So I'm going to ask you, Mikey, because I didn't get to watch tonight.
Yep.
Nicholas at Night points out, you know, it's bad when the Amazon Prime is showing Nyquist highlights from 2014 with Johan Franzen in the hug pile to celebrate his goal. The Jets are the UNC team of the NHL. And I did have someone text me and say, like, holy shit, Niederreiter, Taves, Nyquist, and who else was on the power play too? And we're like, holy, this would have been sick 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if this was 2014, boy, you'd be killing it with that lineup.
But here's what I really wanted to ask you about. Maple Bacon 82 points out. Prime interviewed JT, and at least he was honest about it. Talked about how he wanted to help the leadership department, but he doesn't feel right doing it if he can't lead by example. What did John Taves have to say on the broadcast tonight? What do you think of that perspective from him as described by Maple Bacon?
Yeah, that's a really good way to kind of summarize what he was talking about. That he feels that he's kind of lost the ability to lead with his voice if he's not able to lead on the ice in that way as well. Because he's always been, right, he's Captain Serious. That was always kind of his thing. He may not be the big screamer, the big loud, you know, guy, but he's going to lead by example. He's going to show you the right way to do it, and he's going to demand, you know, you put in that same kind of effort. The thing with it at this point is you can't do that, Johnny. You just can't. It's not, whether it's age, whether it's injury, whether it's whatever it is, the time away, the body's just not able to keep up with the mind at this particular moment in time. So you got to just start leading by your voice then. You got to do it the other way around, because otherwise what are you bringing to the lineup, right? The Jets were the ones who said it like a week or two ago. You know, he's here for his experience. We brought him in for his experience, and you know, he's been through all of this. He knows all the things. That's why he's here. He's here for his experience. But then they also turned around and said, well, this is all new to him too, though. So it can't be both, right? It can't all be new, and you know, he doesn't know how to do this, and he can't handle it if he's not, you know, the guy that's leading in points. But also he's the most experienced, and they need him for the Stanley Cup. Like it can't be both, right? So he's got to find a way to start impacting the game, whether it's on the ice or if it's, you know, in a fourth line role in limited minutes. But he's the one working with guys after practice, working with guys on the bench, talking, whatever it is, right? He's got to find a way to start, impacting the game. Otherwise, he's just another fourth line guy.
I have nothing to add. I think you hit that out of the park. And I'll just add, Nicholas at Night says, at this point, you make JT a player coach, get him to sit in the corner of the dressing room with a towel over his head and a cig in his mouth, and let him play one shift near the end of the game.
Hey, like we can give him the old Jim Slater treatment, right? Go out there, win your face-off, and then skate as fast as you can back to the bench. Just over and over again. It's fine.
And Caitlin does say he likely regrets coming back at this point, but feels it's too far into the season to back out now. And Caitlin Doucette points out, true top teams like Dallas sometimes get caught in roster crunches and have to waive someone that they might not want to. And I do think that's where the defenseman that I can't pronounce his last name.
We'll call him Vlad.
Yeah, we'll just add another Vlad.
Exactly. We love Vlad. That's our, doesn't matter which team, Jets, Blue Jays. I wonder that with the Taves thing, I honestly think he probably still feels like he can maybe turn it around. I think if he finally comes to the conclusion that he regrets it or he doesn't have it, like if he makes that thought in his head, I feel like he would retire mid-season, to be totally honest, if he felt like he could not do it at all. He doesn't seem like the type to want to drag out that type of thing to make it, he's a hindrance or whatever on the lineup. I could be wrong, but that's kind of the feeling that I get, that he would walk away if he felt like he couldn't do it. Whether he can or not is different, but whether he feels like it, I mean.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out as things go into 2026 here.
Yep.
Any other big combos around the team that stood out to you here as we get towards the end of the show here?
Dylan DeMello passes Jacob Trouba for 13th on the all-time games played list. So,
wow.
Yeah, 409 games now for Double D, which is crazy to think about. It doesn't feel like he's been here that long. You know what I mean? But
especially comparing it to Trouba.
Yeah, right? That was one of the guys. Hit. So, yep, 13th all-time now for Dylan DeMello in games played. Yeah, that was really the only milestone. I think Connor's, 9-game point streak coming into tonight as well. So outside of that, no, there was not really too much in terms of the extracurriculars.
Surprisingly hung up on goal number 299 too, eh?
Yeah, which is weird. He usually hits those milestone ones pretty hard. Didn't get it on his birthday even, which is, last 4 years in a row. So that's going to be
a couple good looks today.
He's edging that one. Ooh, all right. We got a call from the mayor.
Hey, get the mayor in here.
We've got the mayor of Transcona. T. Kona, how you doing?
Well, I'm not too bad, gentlemen. And how about yourselves?
Kind of just content at this point. Know what to expect from this team. Know what to expect from the chat. This is where we're at, T. Kona.
Just lower the standards and be content.
That's where we got to get to, right?
It feels like a hockey lobotomy.
It might be like that the rest of the way with this Jets org, to be honest. Yeah. I mean, I've seen it a long time, I think. But maybe I haven't. But, before I lose what I'm thinking, the Jets have to be strategic in putting a roster together. I mean, they cry about nobody wanting to come here. Sometimes they don't want to stay, this and that. Hard to get players to Canada. We're going to pay this and that. So when a young guy like Vlad or whatever, Dallas, has potential, if you have a chance to grab a guy like that, which the Jets would, because I believe waiver goes by lower standings teams get the picks, right? So
points percentage, I believe.
Like they would have a shot at maybe getting that guy if they're like the fourth team down the totem pole as opposed to the last team on the totem pole, right? So they have a chance to maybe grab that guy. So you build the roster within that. Like you grab guys like that off waivers to get this roster stronger. You get rid of a guy like Nyquist, but I don't know, maybe not, because that whole idea you got about riding this tank. So you grab the guy off waivers, you get a good player in there, so you're getting that, and now you kind of they got to be strategic. Sometimes taking this little purposely non-purpose tank to get a player like your idea of that Beerhoff there and getting him into your fold real quick, and then you move like a peon to get that scoring winger, and next thing you know, you've improved the roster within 24 months maybe, because that Beerhoff won't be, unless he's like Schaefer and takes right off, he'll probably need a good year to develop. But and see, two moves like that can kind of put this roster back more into contention as opposed to just floating around this mushy middle, which is where they're more likely to stay if they don't grab a guy off waivers like that, and if they don't fall into the top 10 picking drafts, probably not top 5. You get what I'm kind of saying?
Oh yeah, the mushy middle terrifies me, Ticona. It terrifies me. I'm not confident that they're how would I put it? I'm not confident enough that they're decisive enough to get themselves out of the mushy middle, and I think that's what scares me.
Well, I mean, I don't understand why they wouldn't just be afraid to just kind of look in the mirror and say, even if this was the year we could creep back into the playoffs, even if we could maybe win around, maybe that's as far as we're going to get. Maybe if we just slid ourselves down the standings, we can acquire a generational talent on defense, that can put us back over the top right away. You kind of got to.
I want to see it.
It's like you want that thing from the store. You kind of got to make a sacrifice to get it, and the sacrifice would be slipping in the standings to get it.
Yeah.
Because how else do they acquire players like that? They can't lure them there in free agency. They can't trade for them because they got no trade clauses. You have to draft them.
Yeah, and they don't even have the farm system to pull one off, even if one became available. Well, if they wanted to take a shot at Quinn Hughes, guess what? They didn't have the assets available to even do it.
Well, I had a little package put together, but I don't think it would have worked. I don't know. You don't think Salo, Perfetti, and Yeager and a first wouldn't have got you?
Not a chance.
No, eh? Okay.
No.
Well, either or. They don't have ways, like you say, to get to play. Like, they don't have ways. They kind of got to cheat in order to do it. And if cheating means playing shitty for a year and sliding to the top three and getting a guy that can turn your franchise around and make them happy, not like when Liney got here. And even Liney kind of, I wouldn't say he busted, but he kind of faded away, But I mean, I guess Dubois and Matthews are sort of confused of late, right?
Yeah, Matthews has sure struggled the last couple of years.
Yep.
Well, they ran into some injuries, right? And that's kind of been Liney's thing too. But I guess what I'm getting at is, like, how else are they going to get a talent like that? Like, the guy, they're not. They must know they can only get those guys by being in early draft picks. And I guess an example would be, how else do you get a Shifley and a Morrissey? We haven't had that since then, right? Other teams get a Shifley and a Morrissey, but they have the potential to trade and get players like that as their franchise is still going and evolving, right? And Winnipeg, we're not really able to quite do that.
Hey, Ticona, you're speaking my language.
I'm on board with the slow slip into dismal year to get something like that, to get better right away.
Welcome to the dark side, buddy. Thank you for calling and sharing your thoughts. Really appreciate it, Ticona.
Have a good night, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
On those topics, I see a few comments, and then I have a question from Nicholas and Ed I want to ask you. John Chan says, Jets need to poach the Stars head of scouting and development. Stars seem to find ways to stock the cupboards with top prospects. Caitlin Doucette says the Jets will watch guys like them clear, but will be terrified of Pearson and Fleury getting claimed.
Yep.
Also reminds us 20 teams passed on Eli Tolvanen, and wants to add Velarde would have to be the Rossi equivalent in any package. Perfetti isn't that good, and we don't have the Zeev boom type piece.
Yep.
To really put the package over.
No.
But let's ask this question, then let's get into the 3 stars and get out of here, because I know you're not feeling too hot tonight. Nicholas at Night says, where would you rank JT retiring midseason instead of being cut by the org in all-time bad looks list for Jets 2.0?
I would put it I would probably put it just behind the absolute fumbling of Dustin Byfuglien's medical situation, which forced his retirement.
Ooh, I didn't even think of that one. I have it number 2. But it's behind Paul Maurice having to quit on them because they didn't have the balls to fire
sorry.
him.
I forgot about Paul. I'll put it at 3.
I'd put it at 2 behind Paul.
Yep.
But it's right up there, especially after investing in that piece to try and put you over.
Yeah, exactly. And telling you that was going to be the big thing to talk, that was, it's bad. It's bad.
Yeah.
Quickly,
let's get into the 3 stars. We're going to end this one early tonight.
Let's hit it. Right on.
Who are your 3 stars in this one, Mikey?
Third star, I'm giving it big number 4 with that bomb. Finally gets on the board. Everybody knows I love goals, so the more of them, the better. And that was my fantasy team finally getting a little bit of a tick, so I'll take that one there. Number 2 star, the Stanimal, Golgan Stanley. He continues his offensive assault on the league. That guy is getting 15 goals by the end of the year. You heard it here first. You can book that down right now. Call your bookies. Number 1 star, Connor Hellebuck. If he wasn't in there tonight, that could have been an embarrassing loss, right? So he had some real big saves tonight where the game the other night, it was a little bit quieter, didn't have to do as much. Tonight, they definitely called on Hellebuck more than once to make some real nice saves. So I'll give number 37 my first star.
You want to load up the tankathon? I think today deserves a spin of it.
I've got it ready. Let me know.
So my 3 stars, Gilbert Marion's 3 stars, Barron, Hallie, and Pionk. I'm going to go a different way here. I'm going to go 3rd star, Logan Stanley, who's also based enough to say in the postgame, that was a very winnable game, and we found a way to lose.
Yes.
Sums it up nicely.
Yep.
Number 2 star, I'm going to go Sanderson. Stood out to me. Was big on tilting the result in Ottawa's favor late and in overtime. And number 1 star, makes me miserable to watch him, but I thought Tim Stützle, 3 assists. He was all over this one. When he gets going, the Jets had trouble containing him. That'll be my 1st star on this night. And I do think on the way out, we got to listen to Colin Hall's advice saying the Jets need to get a little older, seems like. And T. Konopali's 3 stars are Nick, Mike, and the caller.
Especially the
calling
caller.
his own number.
Especially the caller.
Definitely the caller.
All right.
Let's go for one spin.
Here we go. Let's pull it up the results.
Where are the Jets drafting tonight?
Your Winnipeg Jets are drafting at number 2.
Hey, we're hot on this spins, man.
Winnipeg Jets are drafting at number 2, ladies and gentlemen. How do you feel about that one?
I feel excellent. We've done this twice now, and we've jumped up to 1, and we've jumped up 7 spots to 2. If the Winnipeg Jets are drafting in either of those spots, come next year's draft, I will be a very excited podcast host.
Absolutely.
We need to put you in the room.
I got to be
for
there.
the luck of the draw.
Hey, the last draft that I went to was the Mark Scheifele one, so I've got a pretty good track record.
Hey, you might represent the team here.
That's right.
I do think I like this comment from Colin Hall one more time on the way out. On Stanmal's night, says also Logan Stanley turning into the guy Tyler Myers could have been.
Oh,
he's always been my favorite comp, honestly.
The ghost of Tyler Myers, absolutely.
But thank you for tuning in. We'll be back. What is it, Wednesday now?
Wednesday against St. Louis.
Wednesday against St. Louis. Talk about a battle of good hockey teams right now in the Central.
That'll be fun.
We will see you guys Wednesday. You have a good rest of your night.
Right on. Good night, everybody.